Okay, ladies and gentlemen, JD's here to talk to you again. And I'm sure people will copy what I say. I just wish some people would give me credit for the things that I have saying instead of just copying. There's now somebody on Lincoln, and she's running for president, and she's changed her whole program and is copying what I say. And you all know what I've said. My motto is, that's not what your country can do for you, but that's what you can do for your country. But let it be known that the federal government, the people shall not be the servant or servitude of the federal government, but the federal government shall and will be the servant and in total servitude to the people of the United States of America, and shall not serve any other entities, political parties or not. That's JD's motto. My promise is to bring your voice to make sure and ensure that the federal government serves you, the people, and to bring leadership. I'm not a politician, and I'm not trying to be a politician. I'll never be politically correct, and I don't believe in lying for the sake of correctness. For example, I'm not going to lie to you. Tell me which people in this country is not an immigrant, and I'll call you a liar. Some of you can say the American Indian. They're Native Americans, except for they came from Asia, so they're not Native Americans either. North America has no indigenous species of humans. We all immigrated at different times, some a lot earlier than others, but we all immigrated here from somewhere else. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about something much more important. And since we all immigrated here at different times, some a few years ago, some 1,000 years ago, needless to say, we need all of us to unite as a people and a nation. Because the challenges that are going to be coming to us when I become president, and they are going to be immense, are of such magnitude, it's going to take all of us together. Yes, a leader, but all the people. And this video is about that. Even though it says separation of church and state, that's really what it's about. Our future is going to be challenging the very core of what I just said, separation of church and state. But we, the American people, must understand, above all else, when we're fighting good against evil, it is not necessarily the church. It has nothing to do with churches. Because if you want to see what churches mixed in with government produces, Isil. Yep. That's a combination of church and state. They are going around religiously killing innocent people because they do not believe the same as they do. That's where government and it's got all messed up. We, the people of the United States, together must understand and stand strong that the separation of church and state shall, will, and never be crossed by the federal government whatsoever. And that I will ensure. You will see that in the beginning from me. See, our Constitution, the First Amendment, says the federal government shall not, and the reason for that is to keep the separation of church and state. And that will be adhered to. But people, you must understand that we must stand strongly for good against evil. Not church, no religions, no nothing. Wrong is wrong, right is right. Good is good, evil is wrong. Killing people for what they believe in is wrong. Killing children for what they believe in is wrong. Kidnapping women and making them marry people they have no idea who they are is wrong. Killing women is wrong. To line up people, behead them just because they are of a different belief of yours is wrong. That is evil. That is not a that is not a religion. That is wrong. And we as American people must stand up and say so without involving religion. When you involve religion, you get confused. It muddies the water. It creates problems. 3 innocent Muslim youths were killed because they were Muslim, and the person who killed them confuses the separation of church and state. Terrorism is a state. It's a war. It is a physical being. Religion is inside. It's in your heart. Sure, you go to a building, but it is not outside. It is separate. And it doesn't matter what religious belief you have in this country, as long as you follow the rules as set down by the Constitution of the United States of America. You have unlimited liberties. Or do you? You don't. Because you see, once your liberties and privileges and promises inhibit the liberties, privileges, and promises of another, you have exceeded yours. So yes, you have freedom of religion, but you cannot force it onto other people. Yes, you have freedom to speak your will, but you cannot lie about other people. You have freedom to take pictures any way you want, except for if you interfere with the freedom of people traveling. But bottom line here, people, is freedom of religion is a core to our Constitution. But the separation of church and state must be, shall be, and cannot be abridged for any reason whatsoever. We, as a nation, must accept all religions. We as a nation, I didn't say as an individual, and protect the rights of every single citizen to practice their religious beliefs freely, whether we agree with them or not. Separation of church and state must be maintained, shall be maintained. When I deal with Isil, I am not dealing with a religion. I am dealing with an evil, a separate. I don't care what religious beliefs they are. They can be whatever they want to be. But when you go slaughtering innocent women and children, old men, because of your belief that you have the right to do so, you know, there used to be somebody who used to believe that before. He believed he had the right to slaughter people he disagreed with their beliefs. I think we called it the Nazi Party. Remember them? The supreme Aryan race. And that everybody else had to succumb to them. And if you didn't, or if they didn't like you, they just had places built just to eliminate you. They were called gas chambers. What's the difference between gas chambers and beheading? Think about that, people. What's the difference between lining people up and shooting them in the back of the head and lining them up and marching them into a room which you will fill with deadly gas? Interesting. Did you ever look at it that way? That's separation of church and state. It's an evil that needed to be taken care of. If we want to tie it into religion, we could. Nazis were Catholics or Christians. I don't know which ones. And they were mainly against the Jews. There's a religion right there, religiously. You know? Muslims against Christians. There's a religion there. But that ain't what we're dealing with. We don't care about that. What we care about is the evil. The killing of innocent people for your own gains. And that's where we are. And that is the separation of church and state. You look at it not as a religious movement, not as a religious group of people, not as any of that, but as a very evil force that must be addressed by the good people of the world. For if we don't address it, look at what's happened. It was little, it was small, no one addressed it. It is growing like a cancer. It's all over the Middle East now. People, evil is evil. Wrong is wrong. Good is good, right is right. Now, sure, we're not going to be 100% right, but remember this is what I say, and don't forget it. This is very important for you all to understand. War is hell. Peacetime, it's murder. So, people, this is JD talking a little bit about Isil, but actually talking about separation of church and state and how we must look at the problem. It is not a Muslim problem. It is an evil, and it doesn't matter whether it's a Muslim religion, a Christian religion, or anything else. The Nazi Party was a Christian religion. It still didn't matter because it was an evil. The problems in the Middle East with Isil. I don't know what their religion is, but to break it down of, and it's still nothing but evil. And we must, in the United States, maintain that separation of church and state. When Jesus held up that coin, he did not say, pay your taxes and pay your tithes. He could have said that just as easy. Instead, he held up the coin and asked whose face is on it. And they said, Caesar! And he said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is God's. That is the separation of church and state. And we as a people in the United States of America must, shall, stand strong, stand erect, and keep this problem separate from the church. It is not a church problem. It is a state problem and shall be handled as a state problem, not a religious problem. Religious problems are for religious leaders. State problems is for the federal government. Thank you. This is JD. I hope you understand what I said here. Because after 2016, after you elect me, I, JD, must handle this problem. And we shall. Very, very successfully. We shall. Thank you. This is JD.